Joan of Arc, also known as the Maid of Orleans, was one of history's most remarkable figures. Her life story is one of faith, courage, and tragedy, leaving an enduring legacy that inspires people to this day. Early life, 1412 to 1428. Joan was born in 1412 in the small village of Domremy, in the northeastern part of France. Her family were modest farmers, and Joan grew up working on the land. From a young age, she exhibited deep piety, often spending hours in prayer at her local church. This was during a tumultuous period in France, as the 100 Years' War between France and England raged on, leaving the countryside ravaged and divided. At the age of 13, Joan began experiencing visions of saints and angels, including Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret. They told her that she was chosen by God to lead France to victory and to help crown Charles, the Dauphin, the heir to the French throne, as king. Though she was an uneducated peasant girl, Joan wholeheartedly believed in her divine mission. The call to arms, 1428 to 1429. By the age of 16, Joan felt an overwhelming urgency to act. She convinced a local nobleman, Robert de Baudricourt, to support her journey to meet Charles VII, the Dauphin of France. At first, her claims were met with skepticism, but Joan's persistence and conviction won her an audience with Charles in Chinon. In a private meeting, she reportedly revealed details about Charles's life that only he could have known, convincing him of her divine guidance. Charles, desperate to reclaim his throne from the English and their allies, allowed Joan to lead an army to the besieged city of Orleans. Dressed in armor and carrying a banner adorned with religious symbols, Joan inspired troops with her fervor and confidence. The liberation of Orleans and Joan's rising fame, 1429. In 1429, Joan led French forces to lift the siege of Orleans. Despite having no formal military training, her leadership and charisma energized the troops. The French forces achieved a decisive victory, marking a turning point in the 100 Years' War. Joan's success solidified her reputation as a divinely chosen leader. Following this victory, Joan pushed for Charles to be crowned king. She accompanied him on a campaign through enemy-held territory, culminating in his coronation at Reims Cathedral in July 1429. This event was a major morale boost for the French and fulfilled part of Joan's divine mission. Capture and trial, 1430 to 1431. After the coronation, Joan sought to drive the English completely out of France, but her fortunes began to wane. In May 1430, during a skirmish near the town of Compiègne, she was captured by the Burgundians, allies of the English. They handed her over to the English, who viewed her as a dangerous threat and sought to discredit her by putting her on trial for heresy. Joan's trial was a sham. The English church officials sought to convict her of heresy and witchcraft, hoping to undermine her claim of divine inspiration. Despite their relentless questioning and attempts to trap her into contradictory statements, Joan remained steadfast, showing remarkable intelligence and courage. Nevertheless, she was convicted and sentenced to death. Death and martyrdom, 1431. On May 30th, 1431, Joan of Arc was burned at the stake in the marketplace of Rouen, France. She was just 19 years old. Witnesses reported that she faced her death with dignity and unwavering faith, calling on Jesus as the flames consumed her. Her ashes were scattered in the Seine River to prevent her remains from becoming relics. Legacy. 25 years after her death, a posthumous retrial ordered by the Pope cleared Joan of all charges, declaring her innocent and a martyr. Nearly 500 years later, in 1920, Joan of Arc was canonized as a saint by the Catholic Church. Today, Joan is remembered as a symbol of courage, faith, and patriotism. Her story resonates as an example of unwavering conviction and the power of belief, even in the face of overwhelming odds.